What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode brought to you by Backyard Zombie. And in today's episode, we're going to be getting a little spooky.
Future Josh here. I was editing the video and I actually left out a very key detail. This is a video about making a replica of Mr. Fritz. I go on a huge rant in the next segment of this video, and I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm making a replica of Mr. Fritz. And this actually all evolved from a failed project. I tried to make my own homemade working ventriloquist dummy, and it actually ended up in failure, and I didn't want to throw anything out. I wanted to reuse it for another project, and eventually I landed on making my own Mr. Fritz for my little oddity collection, because I have a bunch of antiques and oddities, and I really wanted to make a Mr. Fritz head. So let past Josh take it away and explain kind of what this video is really all about.
So who here has seen the movie The Conjuring? Well, if you didn't know, The Conjuring is actually loosely based on a true story about the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine. Ed and Lorraine Warren in Connecticut actually have a museum of all of their cases and some haunted objects. And in the movie The Conjuring, there is a very famous doll, and that is Annabelle. Everybody knows Annabelle. You've seen this version of Annabelle or the versions of her in her own movies. But Annabelle is actually based on a real object. This is the real Annabelle that is actually in display in the Warrens Museum. As you can see, this is a Raggedy Ann doll, and it's not scary at all. But when they made the movie, they wanted to do an artist's interpretation. They wanted to make the doll very scary, because we all remember how Annabelle is introduced in The Conjuring. It's a very zoom up of her very odd and terrifying face, and then they go into the flashback of the Annabelle case. So, this video is kind of like that, because this is the real Mr. Fritz. Mr. Fritz is a ventriloquist dummy head, and by himself, he's actually very terrifying. I could go into the history of Mr. Fritz, but I'm going to allow other people who are way better at telling history to tell it for me, and I've actually linked 2 awesome videos in the description down below. But in this video, I'm going to do an artist's interpretation of Mr. Fritz, as if maybe somebody hired me or Backyard Zombie to do a Mr. Fritz prop. So this is kind of my way of making a Mr. Fritz prop for this kind of fictional movie. We're doing a lot of what if today, people. So stick around and I will show you guys how I made this Mr. Fritz replica, or my artist interpretation of this actual haunted object. So let's get to the video.
So here's where the madness ended. This is where I got with the dummy, and I ended up gluing the mouth in place so it's slightly open, so I could put these fake teeth on the inside, and I actually mounted them onto a popsicle stick, and now we have some teeth sticking out, and once it's dark in there, it looks real eerie. But now we're going to skin them. So we're going to use my favorite technique from He's Crafty, where you use some shop towels, Mod Podge, and you make some skin. And this is going to make the dummy look like it's made from paper mache. I'm just going to keep layering it, using Mod Podge in between. And then I'm going to be doing this to both the front and the back, because I have to eventually put these pieces back together. And then I'm going to take some black acrylic paint, some red acrylic paint, and making the base of the skin color. I know this is supposed to be wood, but I thought the more skin-like it looked, the more eerie it would look. And yeah, that looks pretty scary just starting out. But we are going to go into a dry brush using a skin tone acrylic paint, and I'm just going to put this on with a really chiseled brush and just keep blending it into this red until it gives it a skin-like texture. And I should have left it just like that because it's terrifying. But we're going to add some pizzazz by adding some eyebrows. And then I added some depth and shadow into the mouth to look more like a ventriloquist dummy. But yeah, just painting on these eyebrows. We're going to give him, this is his base paint before he, aged. Then I'm going to give him some red lipstick. I don't know. I just always like dummies with big lips, so I'm just going to add it. And I think it adds more to it when it's aged. Now we're going to fit the eyes by Deadhead Props into the doll. And yeah, that's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But it's starting to look like something, which is really cool. And then I hot glued and then repeated the process of doing the Mod Podge, the skin, paint, and filled the seam in. And then I went in with some clear coat, gloss clear coat, to give it more of a gooey look. And I took some old wood pieces I had lying around. Yes, that is a pig. And I started on the stand that would go inside of this curio cabinet. And then with some yellow paint, I started to age the teeth. And I also aged the eyes too, because the gloss paint kind of creates like a shield over the eyes. And I was able to like tint that too, which gives it a green appearance, like green yellow. And then I went in with this base acrylic paint to age, some contact cement, this old wig, and then I added hair and some like aging. And it gives Mr. Fritz a whole new like look and vibe, and I think the hair adds to it. Mr. Fritz really doesn't have hair in real life, but I wanted mine to have hair. And then I made his little name plaque, which just says Mr. Fritz, 1945, Germany. I didn't want to add any of those symbols of hate onto him, so I kept it very simple. And then when he's in his terrarium, he looks very cool. Just love the way this came out. Such a cool little piece. Very scary, very odd.
And there you have it, folks. That is how I made this replica of Mr. Fritz. I probably shouldn't take him out of his cage very often because I can already feel his like anger right now that he's out of his box. But that is how I created this version of the Mr. Fritz head. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this kind of content. I know it's not like a replica or something from like a movie, but I really wanted to do something that was fun, and I was able to take a failed project and make it into a win, and I'm so excited for how this came out. I love that the eyes from Deadhead props make this thing really come to life, and with some cool paint, some teeth, hair, I was able to make this monstrosity. So if you enjoyed this kind of content, please consider liking this video, please consider subscribing, and hopefully we will see you in the next video brought to you by Backyard Zombie. Say goodbye, Mr. Fritz. I don't think he wants to. Bye!